Great question from somebody who's been getting 10% per annum. They're based out of New Zealand on their active growth pension. So let's have a look at what 10% per annum generates, say, on every 100,000. The thing is, if we just look at Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, let alone similar companies, which are the quality and caliber of what we're looking for, that gets us closer to 20% per annum over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years. So not just 1 year, one hit wonders. Well, what kind of gap does that generate? And you can see from the screen, it is a phenomenally large gap over 10 years. Were that to be maintained and were past performance to move into the future, of which there is no guarantee. And I've got to mention that to people because, of course, the past isn't a guarantee of the future. But I just want to show what a gap like that produces. Now, if the gentleman concerned continues to get 10% per annum, and hopefully he will, fantastic. If we continue to have companies in our portfolios which have generated the kind of returns that the three companies I mentioned, let alone the other 40 odd plus in my son and wife's portfolio, which as a collective we're using to target those returns, continue doing what they're doing, then you can see how the gap would get wider. How many companies can generate those kinds of returns, and what is the holding period? Well, we're certainly not looking to trade. We're looking to invest. How many companies are there? Well, of course, in hindsight, you can easily see how many companies have done it. But actually, the problem is to create a portfolio whereby they're all potential candidates because they're undervalued and high growth. Some of them will far exceed it and make up for the ones who underperform, surprisingly underperform. So we're never trying to pick the one company or trying to get every single stock in the portfolio to get that number, although we'd like that. We know some will lead and others will lag. To give you a classic example, at the time of recording, in the last 12 months, to my surprise, shock, and horror, of two particular stocks that I own, Goldman Sachs and NVIDIA, it's Goldman Sachs, which is the one which has performed better. Again, shows you the perils of narrative stories and not focusing on data. We looked at the data for both companies, and they both looked like they were going to do rather well, though the one which we thought would lag did far better, and the one which we thought would just knock the ball out of the park, actually this year was a bit of a damp squib by relative performance. So data is key in terms of what we're after. Now, once again, I have to underline, not just for regulatory reasons, that not only is this educational, but past performance is not guaranteed in the future. People, retail clients in particular, too often assume, oh, that's what it did for 10 years, therefore I'm guaranteed that in the future. I tell that to my wife and son as well. And look, things are great at the moment. We've had some great years in the markets for a prolonged period of time with a couple of bumps in the road like COVID and 2022, 2018. But nothing's guaranteed. It's one reason I tell my son, do your homework and study hard. Hope you enjoyed some of the insights of what we're trying to do, and I hope you'll like and follow. Thank you.